Hey, IT Nation, Sean Lordo here with another episode of the Wise Up podcast with my good friend and co-host, Matt Topper. Matt, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty awesome. How about you, Sean?
Never better. Never.
Never.
It is,
Okay.
Dude, it's like 78 degrees and sunny in Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm working. I can look out the window at it, but I can see it at least. The trees have leaves on them. It's nice. The birds look happy. I'm working, but pretty good. How about yourself? What's new?
I'm pretty good. So depending on when you're watching this, it's not too far after IT Nation Secure. That went very well. We're all excited about how that went. And now it's just time to keep moving on to the next IT Nation things.
Absolutely. So for those of us that don't know what the Wise Up podcast is and why you and I are on, would you please enlighten the world?
Well, that's two different questions. The What the Wise Up podcast is a way to expose our viewers, listeners to people they wouldn't otherwise meet in the space. Sean just totally
I'm not holding you enlightening the world. I'm not
people
holding
wouldn't
you
otherwise meet in the
anybody.
space. You know, not the usual suspects who have one, good stories, and two, things that they can share with us as the audience, right? To provide value in business, provide value in personal life, professional life, just good takeaways. And they're not the usual suspects that you see crowding around the conference world if you go to those events. So it's a great way just to meet new people and learn new things.
Yep, absolutely. So with that said, though, we do have a good guest on today that's well known in our space. Former colleague of ours. He abandoned us, but that's okay. My therapist said I'll be fine, so I'm okay with that. So let's get into it. Let's bring on our old friend, still our friend, our old colleague that abandoned me, Greg Lalle.
Guys, how are you?
We're doing great. How about you?
Yeah, good. I'm done in your honor. I'm done in the IT Nation apparel today.
You're repping the brand.
I had to change before this, so hopefully we weren't rolling too early.
Trust me, nobody wants to see that. But everybody, I really appreciate that you also have abandonment issues like me from you. So that's good. I'm glad you got your IT Nation shirt on. I'm happy.
Yeah, I can't give it up. It's still on me.
So for those of the people that don't know you, how about give a little bit of background? I mean, I can start off with saying that, I know you spent almost about 15 years with ConnectWise and being involved in the industry. A lot of your stuff happened overseas too as well. So a little bit more background for everybody watching this, please.
Yeah, just career in sales. Going back to tell people from delivering papers and knocking on people's doors and chasing people down for money. When you're 10 years old, to selling bootleg T-shirts in college and at Penn State, you'd appreciate that, Sean, in real school. The Calvin and Hobbes T-shirts I used to sell, the bootlegs. So just always had an entrepreneurial kind of bug and kind of salesmanship, and kind of just been doing it for over 30 years now. It's hard to say. A lot of individual contributor roles, and then leadership roles inside of ConnectWise. So I kind of led the sales team there, developed our international business. I developed Ingram and Tech Data, our distribution partnerships, when we launched those in 2011, 12. And then I started also Dime Lab Tech, the sell-through motion, internal IT. So I was the first one to kind of start that. And then obviously then that's matured over the years for the business. So started a lot of different lines of business inside the framework of ConnectWise over the 15 years. Got to meet a lot of great people, a lot of great partners, and really, everything through ConnectWise and Evolve and IT Nation is a big part of still what I do and what I carry on today.
So question before Matt jumps in. Hold on. I just have one closing question before you jump in.
Yeah, sure.
Are you really a fan of a team that wins any national championships or not?
This is our year. This is our year. Hey, we can agree at least on the Steelers. We got a quarterback, and we can move on.
Yeah, enjoy that quarterback, guys.
Yeah, Matt just had him with the Jets. That's correct. So I'm done with my question. I mean, I just came off of a national title, so I feel pretty good. But Matt, I'm sorry, back to you.
No, that was an important point to make, Sean. So Greg, tell us more about what you're doing now, right? You're with Synthreo. Tell us about that and how you got there and what you're doing there.
Yeah, look, I mean, I dare to say it because I mean, again, it's on I have the TV on back of me, and you don't know on the business channel everything's AI and on the nightly news, right? It's just such an over. I won't say hyped because I think it will. You know, obviously, most people believe it'll eventually live up to where we're going, but where we are in the curve right now. You know, we're at an infancy, we're at an inflection point, and Synthreo is like our mission really is to help people get to market, help MSPs, again, using that pedigree that I have along with some of the others on our board, our ELT, to really help MSPs launch an AI practice. And we learned in through the ConnectWise world years ago. I mean, this is Arnie talking about time, talent, and treasure needed for a practice development. So helping MSPs to kind of look at it through that lens and figuring out how they need to position, what they need to do both operationally as well as in tool set to be able to deliver and meet their customers, you know, their needs and their wants. Because it's just challenging right now. As you know, OpenAI's got 500 million logins on a weekly basis, and none of that's going through the channel. Google's got 35 million chatbots of their last earnings report. None of that's gone through the channel. So the MSPs need to inject themselves in the value chain. They need to kind of start showing, hey, we can use this technology, but we can strategize with you. We can plan with you. We can make those things that you want to have happen a reality, and we'll lead you there.
So you referenced.
I think I find. Can I
Go
jump
ahead,
in
Sean.
1 second here, just because
Yep.
what you just said is you're accurate, Greg. But the problem I find with AI is it's vague, right? Anyway, just because there's so many people talking about it, right? And there's what's the real world application of it, and you can apply it. It's almost like what machine learning was and everything else before, right? And so how do you actually educate, or how do you make them successful with what you guys are doing and where you're headed?
Well, again, you have to realize that we are at that inflection point where there's a lot of new people want the silver bullet. What's the use case? What can I grab off the shelf? Go sell to my customer today, right? And a lot of that stuff is, guess what, Mr. or Mrs. MSP? You've got to be very consultative and start asking people how they do things today. And we're going to be workflow engineers. You're re-engineering their workforce, right? So what a lot of it's done through the consultative manner of meeting with both the customer and the MSP simultaneously, meeting with that law firm, figuring out what are the practices, what are the things that they do that are time intensive, and then developing automation in use cases. And in our platform case, we have the ability to develop agents. So people use the word agent a lot of time when it's really manipulated a chat GPT prompt, or, you know, it's something that's not an agent, a true agent. So like I said, we're proud of the platform that we have that has that ability to deliver those type of solutions. But the magic is in the MSP consulting with the customer, the client, and getting a seat at the table. We've talked about this for years. Get a seat at the table, earn a seat at the table, right? You've got to do it now, because if somebody I'm working with, a partner, I start getting digital workers in your environment, in your customer's environment, I'm controlling their workforce, right? That's a game over. They can go find somebody else to take care of their network and sell them security. So I'm really trying to make this crusade about, changing websites. Look at the big four, look at how Deloitte, look at how PwC is talking about, leveraging technology to drive the business. And we all know this because, in the private equity world, you guys know this. It's all about metrics and driving the business. And it gets more and more focused. So technology has to be the enabler of that. So, Sean, I think the direct answer is it's got to be developed organically. There's certainly things in verticals that we're serving, we're seeing reoccurrences of. Again, I use the legal field because there's a lot of use cases right now where people are using things and doing things because there's large sets of data. They're usually structured, and then they can figure out how they want to manipulate it.
So a couple minutes ago, you mentioned where on the cycle you are, and I assume you're talking about the Gartner hype cycle, right? If you're an MSP, AI is the most hyped thing probably in the last decade. If you're looking at this, how do you separate the genuinely useful applications from the let me help you finish writing this sentence kind of stuff that may or may not be useful, right? There's just so much out there. Every single company on earth is touting AI in some way. How do you find the real valuable stuff?
Well, I think finishing a sentence or a paragraph can be useful to some people. I think you got to meet people kind of where they're at and users. I mean, how many people haven't used GPT? I mean, yeah, there's 500 million people on a weekly, but how many people have written a GPT custom prompt, right? And no, so as simple as it kind of can be, they're functional tools that can drive efficiency now. But then there's also, again, the bespoke, the customization of things that you can, build. And it's really, we're going to get to the point where it's whatever your mind can conjure up. We're doing automatic like API creation right now, like in hooking things together, and where it's spitting out code. So like things that are going to be taking a lot of time to hook systems together, to get them to talk together. You guys see on what's going on with coding. I think it was as Eric Schmidt said in a year's time. I think Google CEO said something about the number of folks, whatever. It's all going to be done, via AI and written in that way. So I think there's tons of practical applications. I think we're not going to cover them all, but the Synthreo piece is really you think of it as an aggregator. Right, you can kind of pull any data source, any large language model together with a large subset of data if you want to do machine learning. So I think you have to, again, get to what is it you're trying to solve? What is the customer's problem? How do we reverse engineer it? We're used to working left to right. Here's the problem, do these things, get this result, right? AI is kind of starting at the end. What do you want to have happen? What do we need in order to work backwards across those inputs, that devices, how does that need to work in order to start then get back to where we need to be? So I think that there's a whole host of things that you can do. And like I said, I would say healthcare vertical, the law firm, the legal vertical, structured data, that type of stuff is always really, really good for use cases.
And so, okay. And I'm going to come back to what you kind of started to go into, the differentiator in this between, again, AI is so used, that term AI is so used. And AI from the beginning of time, we've been talking about AI since the Terminator actually did come out, right? That's a joke, right? But the reality is we've been talking about AI where it became more machine learning automation. We were just calling AI at that point, right? Now, what's the differentiator between what you guys do, or what somebody should expect in return, as opposed to what AI means? What's the differentiator? Is there one?
Yeah, well, I'd take it more as like the agentic world. So you start talking about an agent. So it's not the AI, but the actual word agent, where something can think, can process, can act, can do something, right? Because we all know the RPA world, where there's kind of like it's a kind of an input hot potato. It takes it, puts something in, modifies it, takes it to the next bucket, and you get something at the end after 6 steps, right? And so it's a predetermined sequence that gives out the final result. But the agent itself, it doesn't it doesn't have a predetermined value, right? It has the ability to think and then rule.
Got it.
Can you give an example of like just based on your customers? What's a cool use case you've seen that maybe somebody would find valuable, just like to maybe really shed the light on exactly what Synthreo is and how it works?
Well, I use, it's easier with a visual, but I usually use a chatbot agent, although it's not a chat. We can do chatbots, but that's not the functions, but more that it's done via an agent, where you can actually, have an interface, you give it instructions, obviously interfaces with the customer and the language model, so that they can then pull back and say, hey, I'm this realty site that, I have somebody answers the phones and gives information on real estate properties from 9 to 5. I have somebody that does it. They pick up the phone. Hey, can you tell me about 123, whatever place, right? So why not having all of those listings in a chatbot that has URL links to the direct properties themselves, that has the people the ability to kind of raise their hand and say, hey, we're asking about that property. We want to speak to somebody, so they can still engage, but not necessarily, that could be done 24/7. Right. So it's automating something. That's just a use case. We have legal firms that do comparative to documents. Show me 2 documents and show me the red lines and summarize them. If it's 38 pages, that could be a pretty extensive, time consuming. So there's things that can be done right now that are, a lot of it's prescriptive off of the data read, right? A lot of it is going to be, we developed a use case. There's public information for NASA on rocket sensors. So there's thousands of sensors. So we did as a video out there that we published. You can actually grab the data points and you can predict whether they need repair or not, whether they're going to go in for, are they going to fail? And so you can go back and forth on that. So there's a ton of information, but again, you're going to tie it to, in this case, the reality, it was the CSAT, there was our customer service they're improving. With the lawyer firm, it's efficiency. They can get more billable hours if their guys are doing something versus comparing documents, or their assistant, right? Their paralegal, or their legal assistant. So it's about freeing up time and driving either efficiency. Again, what KPI are you moving the needle? That's what we should be looking at.
Absolutely. So I want to switch gears a little bit, because I think something that people could definitely garnish from you personally. You worked with ConnectWise all the years you did, and you did a lot of international business too. Because especially for any vendors that are watching this, or any MSP that I don't foresee MSPs really going global unless they're part of like the larger, the M&A world. But like, how did you end up making yourself successful, or how did you navigate the waters, different time zones? How did you get yourself internationally? How did you acclimate stuff along the? Because you did a long time success overseas with us. So how did you even get yourself embedded?
Yeah. Well, look, I think, and people always ask me too, what they put in the Kool-Aid at ConnectWise to kind of make me work and operate the way that I did, right? I mean, you have to, my calendar has 3 time zones still to this day in it, right? I'll have London that's the times I look at, I'll have London or Sydney or US East, right? Everything's off of there is when we work with partners around the world. So I think there has to first be an appetite. There has to be an environment, appetite of the individual, and there has to be an environment that you're in that gives you the ability to use your brain, to succeed, to be an entrepreneur. If that's what feeds you, that there's something there within a culture, within an organization that allows you to do that. So I think that's what one piece of it. The second piece is, I work, to me, if I'm working or 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock, if I enjoy what I'm doing, I don't view it as much as work as maybe somebody else. Maybe another family member of mine says, you shouldn't be working. You shouldn't be doing that. If you enjoy that, and you enjoy either working with people overseas or any of that stuff, it doesn't become work. So I think it's a lot of it is in the attitude that you approach it with. But I think it's also, as we know, as Americans, you go overseas, you do have to walk a little bit with your hands up. Like, you don't make assumptions, ask a lot of questions, make sure that what we believe, what we say, what we think, and how we operate is consistent with whatever local culture is. So I think you have to be really respectful about where you go, the people you interact with, and be very visual and watch for people's cues. If you're talking to people, read the room, that EQ side when you're speaking to folks, that you can kind of understand if it's a good fit of what you're doing and what you're saying or not. So, but the stat, as the colleagues there were incredible. I mean, the teams in the UK and in Australia. I mean, it's the teams that we build and the people that work on the ground or that do all of the hard yards.
Yep. Okay. So again, you still had long-lasting success. So yeah, you gave some great input on you got to be open-minded to a degree. You got 3 calendars on your Outlook still. But there's still a discipline factor in this, is there not?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you have to be able to, work independently. Again, it goes, to me, it's the heart. It's humble, hungry, and smart. Going back to the Patrick Lencioni, you cannot replace hunger. When you interview people, when I interview salespeople, that's the hardest one for me, because people always can tell a good story. But do you actually have the heart, the intestinal fortitude that you say you have, and testing for that or questioning for that in the interview process? That's why people have a hard time interviewing salespeople sometimes, right? They tell a good story about what they can do, what they've sold, but then they come in and it's not such a great turnout. So I think that hunger piece, if it's anything, it's just really focusing in as an MSP owner, as a vendor. That book obviously was very instrumental in the way we hired some of the questions that we would ask through the interview process. And that's the hardest thing to determine, is true value of somebody's hunger. Are they going to do it every day and whatever it takes?
That's fair. Matt, you back to me?
Yeah, sorry, we had some yard work going on outside. I didn't want to subject the recording to that.
Invite them in.
So-
Just come jump on the podcast.
Yeah, they can talk about the most effective,
See what they think about how
lawnmower
AI
leaf blower.
impact their. Yeah, let's have a
Yeah,
go.
right, optimal mowing pattern or something. That'd be kind of cool.
How they automate their practices and get to more lawns. That's what I would talk about.
Yes, actually, that would be kind of an interesting thing. Good optimization problem.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So Matt, good.
All right, so we're running out of time. I have one more question, Greg. I think you may have heard this before if you watched previous episodes of our podcast, and that goes back to the habit question. And so I think let's talk about MSPs and their adoption of AI for either themselves or their clients. What's something that they should get into or something they should stop doing to really make that effective, right? To get the most out of this new paradigm, this new AI world. What should they start doing?
Yeah, I would say stop looking, as Sean said. There's no easy button, and it's not there today. But what you should start doing again is understanding that ISO 42001 is a framework, that legislation is going to come. To start building a practice now that's going to be built to last. This isn't something that's going to go away in 6 months or a year. We may not be where we're going to be, but we're certainly going there. And you'd be far-fetched to find somebody in our space that doesn't think we're getting there. So do the things now that are required, understand how to build that practice, start doing it from the ground up, start educating your own colleagues, your own four walls about what they should and shouldn't be doing, right? Make sure they're clear about how they should be using AI and create a culture of innovation. And you want people to use it in a safe and secure manner because you want people to leverage the tools. You're going to get more out of the business. So you really have to get your arms around it, I think, and really get behind it. And really, just like I said, build it right. Don't worry about building it quickly. Build it right and build those relationships and really think about your relationship with your customer. If you're an MSP, you better be a consultant now more than ever. You better be able to ask those tough questions. If not, I'm telling people now, then go find new customers, because if you tell them a consultant, they'll believe you because that's the first time they're meeting you. So if your current customers aren't going to be able to sit down across the table with you and give you the information you need, someone else is going to be able to gain that trust. So hopefully they will be able to do that. But if not right now, that's the most important thing of an MSP is they've got to get to the consultancy attitude where they ask a lot of questions. They understand the business side. They know all about the technology. You're done resetting, passwords and fixing jam printers and crack screens. Those days are gone by. Right now they've got to be business enablers leveraging technology. That's the position they need to be in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. I like that. I think it's important to people to understand. I think we're at a level we came to like a bedrock place with the whole AI thing finally. So that alone, you should be digging in. At least understand that easier for your own business, let alone selling to somebody else is irrelevant. Just knowing how to apply it. So I appreciate that. Now, with that said, we are up at our end of our time. Matt, any last words from you before we hop off here?
No, I think Greg has made a fantastic point here, right? AI is coming, it's here to stay, and you can either learn to work with it in your clients, or somebody else is going to. Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure to see you guys again. I'll tell you, like I said, it's I would be lying to say if I didn't miss the walls in a weird way, but it's obviously what we're doing now is kind of, I think, the next generation of kind of where things are going. So it was great to see you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say this, Greg. One thing to say about you is you can say that you've now been part of two companies that were on the forefront of things in the early days. So that's pretty exciting. When you ConnectWise, I mean, obviously ConnectWise has been around for about 20 years prior to you getting there, but it was different. It was MSP ConnectWise, and they were starting to get into that space more, and they were doing a lot of really futuristic things. And now you're in it again. So I feel like
2010 ConnectWise was a very different beast in 2010. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. I know. I remember when I finally could start sponsoring the shows. I remember how exciting that was. So I totally appreciate that. But Greg, thank you so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. For those of you watching, again, you'll see us in the next episode, whenever that is. And you'll be seeing us at the next events. I think we'll probably see Greg everywhere moving forward. Can't wait, though.
I think so.
See you in November, for sure.
Did you see Matt's face? I think so. Yeah,
I think
absolutely. So. All right, then for now, everybody, we will talk to you later. Peace out, Girl Scout.